Hey guys and girls, welcome back to Pommyinoz. I hope we're all doing really well. We're back with another video. Sorry I have done it a bit later. We're going to have to put back the time of releases. It's probably going to be about 7 or 8 o'clock every other day due to I've started a new job, so time isn't of the essence. If you are new around here, please drop a like, please drop a sub. We're doing really well. We're breaking sub goals. Means the world to me. And today what we're doing is we're doing our tip video, so let's have a look. 6 out of 9 last week, which I tipped a couple of shocks in there. I keep doing it. 23 out of 36 so far. It's been a topsy-turvy season. I mean, you could just throw a dartboard, couldn't you? So let's see how we go this week. I'm a bit confident this week though, cheekily. So let's get straight into it. So tomorrow evening, Thursday, 7:20, St Kilda entertain Richmond. Now, last time out, 80-49 Richmond last time. And Richmond host the head-to-head record 4-1. It's interesting this year, though. Both sides 2-2. Many people, including Wayne Carey, said that St Kilda's season was over. They backed it up last week with a very impressive turnaround, beating the Eagles by 20. A real good tackle pressure in that one. And Port, they ended up getting up against Richmond by 2, in which was a real classic affair. Tackle pressure for me wins this one. Richmond are the most tackled team in the comp, and it's their game style that does it. And the last 2 weeks we've seen that rise. Teams really rise to the occasion. Saints top 5 in clearances, and they will really need to retain that domination around there as well against a heavy handball side that really looks to gain territory fast. They'll look to have that control. Steele has been really impressive for the Saints, 28 touches and 6 clearances. However, Hooley and Shaw, they'll be looking to dissect, a bit like the Eagles did last week for the first half. Their forward line averaging 50 touches per game between them, dominating rebound 50s and intercepts. Saints, though, for me in this one, I'm going to tip them. Even though it's 2 defeats in a row for Richmond, I think it'll be 3, and I'm going to back the Saints in here by 11. Then the Friday night, we've got a cracker here. We've got West Coast Eagles versus the Pies. And Collingwood won last time out in that famous final, if you remember, in Optus by a solitary point. Eagles host the head-to-head record, though, 3-2. And this season, Eagles, they've squared the ledger, 2-2, and Collingwood are 1-3. The last couple of games, we saw Eagles, they went down by 20 to the Saints. But really, GWS kind of out-trumped them in a surprise loss. They lost by 30 to GWS. Now, West Coast's heavy ball retention game really did come up unstuck in the second half against the Saints. It was intense pressure from the midfield in Saints. And the problem for the Pies is they're hemorrhaging marks. And we know the Eagles, they're a very kick-mark-heavy side. They look to retain pressure. And the only look to return the ball, and the only time that they look kind of troubled is in that intense pressure situation. And the Pies' pressure is just okay in the comp. They're going to have to really improve if they're going to hurt the Eagles at home. And I think at the Optus, they're a bit different. The matchup of Nick Nat versus Grundy is intriguing. 46.5 hitouts to Grundy, 31 for Nat. But the midfield battle is going to be a real intriguing one here as well. But I just think the Eagles have got enough in this one. I'm going to tip the Eagles by 20. Then we head over the Doggies. They entertain the Gold Coast. Now, the Doggies last time out, they won by 5 points in a real tight encounter. And it was when Gold Coast were in a bit of a resurgence last year. The Doggies host the head-to-head record 4-1. And currently this year, the Doggies are one of the few unbeaten sides in the comp. Gold Coast are 1-3. Now, the Doggies beat Lions last week in 19 points in a really impressive performance. And we know Gold Coast fell to my beloved Carlton in a real scrappy, tenacious encounter that was a very greasy conditions. Gold Coast, their kick-heavy game plan and most tackles will be tested to the max versus a side that has simply dominated games, particularly around the possession. They spread the load all across the ground. They're a very fast-paced, high-energy game style, which is very tough to stop. Jackson McRae, 37 touches per game, and Norton being dominant aerially up forward, 8 marks a game. You combine that with Josh Bruce, who's in a bit of career-best form at the moment. I think it's going to be a job too far for the Suns. I just can't see them getting it done. I'm going to tip the Doggies here by 33. The Sydney derby. Sydney hosts GWS Saturday afternoon. And Sydney won the last one, you know, surprise, surprise, by 41 points. GWS, though, do host the ledger. They are ahead on the ledger, 3-2, head-to-head. Sydney are unbeaten this season, which is absolutely phenomenal. They've been absolutely flying. GWS, we know, the 1-3, but Last time out, they did get that impressive 30-point win against Collingwood. Sydney, they held strong against the resurgent Essendon by 3 points. It's been a youth-inspired Sydney side, and they've been mighty impressive in 2021. The highest scoring team in the comp per game, and Luke Parker and his young midfield combo have simply been dominant at times, with some of their older heads like Kennedy and Heaney really performing. Especially in front of goal, they've been super potent and super efficient. GWS did look good, but it has to be said Collingwood were very lacklustre last week. There were signs for me that it was just a paper over the cracks performance. Mumford was impressive, but I just don't think the midfield can cope with the energy levels that Sydney are bringing. Their ability to spread the pay and their pace, I think he's going to put pay to them. And I'm going to tip Sydney here by 15. Then in the evening, we've got Brisbane versus Essendon. And Brisbane last time out, they destroyed Essendon by 63. However, Essendon are ahead on the ledger 3-2. Both sides are currently 1-3 this year, which will be a surprise. The Lions haven't quite got it together, and they lost 19 points to the Doggies last week, where Essendon ran Sydney very close. If you look at form and you look at current performances, Essendon arguably probably have had the better showing. They've been impressive at times, fielding a real new, faster ball movement style of play that really plays into the talent of young players like Parrish. And Ridley has been phenomenal down the back and been instrumental in transition, turning and stopping opponents' attack and launching it into attack in almost a couple of touches. Merritt has been holding that midfield together. He averages 30, where it's the opposite case for the Lions. They can't free Neil up. Lions has done really well to try and hold it together, but Neil has copped a hard tag in the last few games. And for me, it's going to be how they free him up. We know Daniel Rich is really starting to push forward a bit, which does give him chance. He got a lot of touches last week. Late on, Neil did, and he did kind of, that little shift around does help. We know that the Lions are missing a ruckman, but so are Essendon. And I've got a feeling here that you're going to see a return to form from the Lions and Lachie Neale. I'm going to tip the Lions here by 20. I think this will be an absolute barnstorming tie as well. Then Saturday evening, 7:25, we've got my team, Carlton. We entertain Port Adelaide. Now, as we know, Port Adelaide, they won by a kick after the siren last time out, but Port do hold a 4-1 lead in head-to-head. Carlton are 2-2. They even the ledger with their win against Gold Coast, which was impressive. It was a grinding win, and it was a coming of age, really, I think, for the Blues. Port Adelaide, they're 3-1, and we know they beat us by 2 last week, and what was an impressive performance. Now, Port have a host of injuries, as do Carlton. Dersma and Butters out for them, and Rosie a test, and Clory not to be seen. Port's strength has been controlling the corridor this year, and they'll be tested as Carlton are the #1 ranked clearance side in the competition. And it's partly down to the exceptional work of Cripps and Williams, who averages himself 8 clearances per game. He should return this week. Added with the new renewed fawn in the side, Ed Kerno for every opposition. He had an impressive game out, and really the coming age of Sam Walsh, who's now the top 5 ranked efficient possession getter in the AFL and averaging 30 a game. He's really adding something. It's an interesting matchup this, because both sides' strengths is the opposite's weakness, and it's an absolute barnstorming game really on paper. We know that Lycett and Wines have been exceptionally dominant as a combination, and it's no surprise that they do so well in that kind of domination area. Bolt continues to shine as well. I'm going to tip a shock here though. I think Carlton will get up, and I think their renewed pressure and their renewed sense of belief will get them up by 6. Then on the Sunday afternoon, we start off with Adelaide versus Freo. Last time out, we know Freo won this one by 20. Adelaide are ahead on the ledger, 3-2 head-to-head. And Adelaide have had an impressive start to the year, haven't they? 3-1. Fremantle, they've got a level ledger, 2-2. And their 41-point win, the Crows, last week against North was mighty impressive. It's really free-flowing, and there's a real sense of belief around them young Crows. The 15-point win by Fremantle was gutsy, and it was controlled, and it looks like their bats are their best. Adelaide have been impressive this year. They're top 3 in points scored per game, and their pressure has stopped sides controlling the footy. Sides can't get uncontested possessions against them. Combine that with Tex Walker, 5 goals a game, who's really helped heap scoreboard pressure on, allowing them and their young midfield and players like Laird to really control the ball out of the corridor and not be so rushed. Freo, they've proven that at their best, they can avoid pressure. One of the least tackled teams in the comp, and have shown that that fast outside game plan that they've got really does pull sides apart. You look at Hawthorn last week, a very ball retention side. They just couldn't get the freedom, which allows Fife, Brayshaw and Shearer really to prove a headache in the opposition, in the opposition side. I'm going to tip Fremantle here by 11 points. I think Fremantle will get the job done, and I think it should be a great game, this one. Sunday afternoon, we got Hawthorn. They entertain Melbourne. And Melbourne, they beat the Hawks by 43 last time out, and they host the Ledger 3-2. Melbourne are undefeated again this season, and Hawthorn are 1-3. Hawks lost, probably very disappointing as well, and it was very good to pull it back to 15. It was probably a defeat that was worse than that. Melbourne, they destroyed Geelong, it has to be said, by 25. And that's been the story of 2021. And I don't think they're getting as enough kudos as they deserve. I think partly because Sydney and Adelaide are playing so well, people aren't focused on them. But this is a return to their best, Melbourne. And they've got some players to come back in the next couple of weeks as well, that just add cream on the top. They're getting the ball inside 50 at well, with a really impressive efficiency rate. And they really have great pressure around the ground. Teams just can't play. And when you look at Oliver, dominant in the middle, 32 touches. Bailey Fritsch, 2.5 goals a game. And Gawn has been absolutely dominant. They'll feel confident that there's no real matchup this week. Hawks, on the other hand, bit of a transitional period. And when you look at it, Titch has got 35 touches in that midfield. But he kind of looks alone. Warpuff seems horrendously out of form, and Yeager's not really offering too much for them. I think that the D's here will get a win, and I think it'll be an impressive win. I think the D's will win this one by 29. We finished the week with Geelong versus North in the afternoon fixture on Sunday, and we know Geelong won this one by 33 last time, and they've never lost in the last 5-0 head-to-head. Geelong, they did lose 25 to Melbourne. Adelaide put them to the sword, North, by 41. And Geelong go into the season 2-2, and North, they haven't won yet. Now, North, they've been really brave, and it's been a difficult season for them. We know they're right in the middle of a rebuild, and they just don't seem to have the legs to run out the game. Combine that with some key injuries to key players, and it's really tough for them to play 4 quarters of football. Zeeble, though, has been absolutely terrific down the back, and he looks really renewed down the back as well. He looks really impressive in controlling the footy. Jaden Stevenson's really taken like a duck to water to the midfield berth. But Geelong, they've just been inconsistent. Their best is brilliant, and they're top 10 for all the numerical ranks in the AFL. Top 5 for the majority of the major metrics. But their bad is so bad, and their plan B is horrific. And at times it seems that pressure really makes them come unstuck. Cam Guthrie has pulled the strings in the midfield in Dangerfield's absence, averaging 30, and Tomahawk's still in the goals, 2 a game. I expect this week, though, is a week that the Cats return to form and play themselves into form. North aren't really going to pose much a threat for them. I think Geelong will win this by 42, and I think this is going to kickstart the Cats' year. They're my tips then. Let me know in the comments who you're tipping. I'll be back Friday with a CARLTON in-depth preview against Port. Until then, stay safe. Pom out.